George Hotz, the founder of Comma AI, which is considered by many to be second in the race to autonomy, has recently made statements saying that after they solve self-driving, they might then consider buying Ford for only $48 billion. He also pointed out that Comma has the second largest network of driving data collection after Tesla, with over 100 million miles driven, whereas Waymo only has 7 million. Today, we're going to learn more about Comma AI and how their approach to self-driving is different than almost everyone else. Is there truth to George's claims? Well, we've got Hans Nelson with us today, and he and I have done many shows on looking at George Hotz and Comma AI. So this is just a new comments that he has made, and we'd love to get your opinion on that. Thank you, Hans.
Yep, great to be here.
So Hans has his own YouTube channel at Hans C. Nelson. You should check him out. He's got incredible interviews there as well. So let's go take a look at this. This interesting here with George Hotz, because he's pretty famous out there and he's been making all these statements, but it is true that few know know a lot about what they're doing. So he came out and he posted this on X just a few days ago, said, ugh, how are people not aware that Comma has the second largest network of driving data collection after Tesla? Waymo talks about 7 million miles. Comma AI has over 100 million. Buy the device, join our network. Tell us more about what Comma AI does.
Yeah, so George Hotz is he's the original person to hack the iPhone. He's been in tech basically ever since. And he has started this company, Comma AI, to, in his words, win self-driving. And currently their approach is they actually build hardware. So they have a little device that's based off of cell phone parts that you can install in your windshield if you have a car that it's compatible with. I think it's compatible with roughly 250 vehicles at this point in time. And basically the requirements from your vehicle are that it's new enough to allow the computer to control all of the steering and acceleration and brake pedal. And so if you have that and you can hook up through the the computer of the vehicle to this device that you hang in the windshield, then the Comma AI can do advanced driver assistance. So it's an ADAS system, really a much higher quality ADAS system than any of the OEMs are offering at this point in time. Basically comparable with something like autopilot from Tesla. But they're working on, more and more advanced features over time. George has, to my knowledge, never claimed that he plans to provide anything that's beyond level 2. So their mission is to make driving chill, not necessarily to make the car completely drive itself, but basically to take the load off of the person that is operating the vehicle, make it much more pleasant in heavy traffic or less taxing on long drives, those types of things. And so they have a much more simplified sensor suite, obviously, than Tesla, since it's just the one device in the windshield. It basically only has forward vision, and they're doing all of their machine learning and self-driving inference on a chip that can run basically it's a mobile Qualcomm, I think it's a Snapdragon chip. So very simplified inference, very simplified vision, and a less ambitious overall system at this point in time. But they've made iterations on the hardware. So currently they're on the Comma 3X, which I think is, fourth or fifth generation overall. I think there was a 2 and a 2X and now a 3 and a 3X. So, minor improvements over time that they've made to their system. And I think the benefit that they have is that he has access to, there are lots and lots of different vehicle makes and models that are compatible with. And so the market that is his addressable market of vehicles that are compatible with his hardware is really large. And as these ADAS features become more in demand, he can sell, I think it's like $1,250 for the device itself. And then you need to either install it yourself or, pay someone who knows what they're doing, how to install it. So it's, not incredibly expensive, but not incredibly cheap either. And but it provides drivers with a very good level of advanced driver assistance functionality that a lot of people find useful. And so he's kind of really trying to take the universally um, compatible route, similar to an Android. And I think he's made this comparison in the past as well, that he plans to do the Android version of full self-driving to Tesla's Apple approach, and that he wants to write the software that will really run on all of the vehicles that are not Teslas. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons that I watch this so closely, is that I think what he's doing has, at this point, in my view, the largest potential to impact Tesla's ability to license full self driving to other players, or to provide solutions that offer robotaxi services that don't depend on the Tesla specific EV fleet. And George is a very exceptional software developer. He's got a proven track record. He's also very scrappy. And even though what he's doing is very small scale and bootstrappy at this point, like he said, even with those constraints, he's got more driving data from the comma fleet than any other players out there in the market currently besides Tesla. And um, and he said that, they're already throwing away like 95% of the data that they're able to collect from their fleet. They're only training on about 5% of it. And so that means that, one out of every 20 drives that someone makes is the one that they're saying, okay, this is high enough quality data that we want to actually train on it. And so they have, they're not data acquisition limited at this point in time in their ability to do, and they're, doing end to end neural networks. Obviously, he uh, is very aware of what Andre Karpathy has done. They've talked about, those things in person together at length, but also, from afar. And they are pursuing a general architecture of the way that they're building this comma AI is very, very similar, just at a scaled down, a little bit more simplified and bare bones method to what AI is, or to what Tesla's doing. But I think because they're using the same general approach, the same architecture, it's all machine learning, the plan is all end to end, that they think that once Tesla gets there, they should be able to follow behind them very quickly.
Yeah. So this is a company we do need to be aware of. I agree with you that this is one that we that's kind of flew under the radar, but it actually has the greatest chance of success. Like you said, Waymo and Cruise. We know Cruise has suffered big time. Waymo's so limited in geolocations. This is the same tech that Tesla's doing. They've been working on end-to-end neural networks. He actually has a separate company called Tiny Corp that is all about AI. And then they've got this device that's in 250 different cars. And so you can probably turn any car, whether it's a gas car or electric car, 250
Mhm.
different models. Like any car out there can basically just plug this in. And then he's got 10,000 drivers daily. So let's take a look more at what he says, because he's pretty confident. He says, over and over, people suggest comma AI should partner with auto companies. It's because right now they don't go directly to those partners. Why? Does anyone think this will help solve self-driving cars a hard software problem? So, he doesn't need the auto companies to come and help him because they don't have the software capabilities. Or can they not see there's a bigger game afoot? Scamming a few billions gets you nothing in a post-singularity world.
Mhm.
I love it. So what he's saying is that, right? It's like, if I partner with a the auto company today, they might invest $1 billion or a couple $1 billion with our company. No, there's a bigger fan. If once we solve self-driving, they will come to us. In fact, what he says next is, he goes, G.I. Joe says, nope, don't partner with anyone. Build it and they will come. And he says this, Ford is only $48 million. After we solve self-driving, if it makes sense, we're just going to buy them.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Yeah,
Hans? I mean, yeah, he's got credibility, right? It's like, it's not, he's just not a nobody saying this. He's got credibility, don't you think?
yeah, definitely. And obviously, not only does he have a track record of accomplishing crazy things that people say is impossible. Um, but he's been doing this also for so long that, you know, he's really at the forefront of um, a lot of bleeding edge technology. So I think one of the things that he referenced was scamming a few billions now, makes really no difference in a post singularity world. And George is definitely one of the people that's kind of in the EAC realm with someone like based Beth Bezos and those types that he's really trying to bring into existence machine intelligence that can amplify human productivity. And if we are able to do more with less inputs, then we're able to make things cheap. And so instead of believing in something like UBI, George really believes that the solution to poverty isn't to give people more money, it's to make the things that we need cheaper and easier to access. So, really, a deflationary rather than an inflationary approach to reducing poverty and increasing the access that humans have to good services and goods that make their life better, easier, more prosperous, more enjoyable. And self-driving is one of those. That's the reason that he's working on self-driving in the first place, is it's one of those technologies that's right on the forefront of developing that general intelligence. And he sees a very strong connection, just like Elon does, between solving something like full self-driving and developing a baby version of general intelligence. George also has plans to make a little comma bot that it's not in any way supposed to have the same functionality as the Optimus, but it is supposed to be an intelligent vehicle, an agent that can do things in the real world. And he's using the same hardware that they use for the full self-driving thing in order to, the comma 3x, as the brains of that comma bot as well. And that's the insight, is that once you have something that has an fundamental understanding of the physical world, that you can use that then to do useful tasks that have been um, things that were only the domain of humans. And the more of those things that you can do, the cheaper you can make the goods and services that are based on that labor, and make them more widely accessible to more people. So that's the reason that he's working on these things in the first place. That's the mission that he's driving towards, and he is continuing to make progress. He's got a company that is profitable. He doesn't need outside funding, so they're fully self-sufficient, fully self-sustaining. And not only is the technology that they're using, but the hardware that they're building on is also scalable. That it's kind of trivial at the point that you have the resources that you need to probably scale up to hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of units of these, comma um, devices that just go in someone's windshield. It's much easier to scale up manufacturing and delivery of basically a consumer electronics device than it is to scale up manufacturing of vehicles. And that's one of the reasons why, George has taken this orthogonal approach that's different than anyone else in the marketplace,
Mhm.
is because, he's looking at Tesla. No, none of the other manufacturers are going to be able to scale up manufacturing the way that Tesla can if they're not an existing auto company, but none of the existing auto companies have the software expertise to solve the problem. And so he's like, I'm not an auto company, and I want to be able to compete with Tesla on a head to head basis. And so how do I do that? Well, I want to limit the scope of my efforts to a consumer electronics device that is massively scalable to those large numbers. And I can do that on the back of other people's vehicles, and utilize, like, externalize as much of the hardware as I can, um, to the existing automotive fleet and minimize what needs to happen on device and the parts that I need to manufacture. So,
Yeah.
which is a pretty ingenious overall business strategy, and
Right.
allows him the freedom to pursue this in the way that he thinks he needs to. And so that's when we come back to his saying that he doesn't need to partner with these auto companies yet, it's because everything that he needs from them is already readily available. He doesn't need their money. All he needs is their vehicles. And, he doesn't have to buy their vehicles, and all of their owners don't necessarily have to buy his common devices for him to have access to the money that he needs to grow his company, the data that he needs to train his algorithms, and if he's selling the comma devices themselves at a profit, then he can scale them kind of with demand. And the way that he increases demand is he's got to solve the software problems to make it more and more useful over time, which is exactly what he's been doing. And we've seen the progress of the overall self-driving effort from Tesla, and it seems like George Hotz and Comma AI are kind of coming behind that. They're lagging maybe a year to 2 years in functionality. So we should be able to see, as full self-driving continues to advance, um, the functionality. Like, we'll have a good preview of what the functionality that we should expect from Comma will be. And it really is impressive, his ability to get the performance that they get out of the limitations in packaging and compute and sensor suite that he works with. But when we turn our attention to artificial intelligence in general, and you see these large language models that have, billions of parameters, and then you see someone will take that, and it will only be a few months that you can find a version of that that's been quantized down and simplified and streamlined, and you can run it on something as simple as a
Yep.
MacBook Air. And that's, the process that he goes through with these full self-driving algorithms. Um, and the good news about that for everyone is that we should have access to incredible technology that can do difficult, valuable tasks, or really from very simple devices for very accessible prices.
Yeah. Okay. So, Comma AI, they have the second largest network of driving data collected. That's number one. Lots and lots of data. They've been working on this end-to-end neural network approach even before Tesla fully started doing it. And so they've got
Mhm.
the right model, and then they've got a business model. So these things sets them up well, and then they're not trying to compete with Tesla. They're going to try to kind of follow along and then allow whatever Tesla's offering to other car companies as fast as possible. So Chansu
And
Beyond
he's not
says
limiting himself to just EVs, like the comma device
bots.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, EVs
Yeah,
or
they need
ICE
to,
vehicles or
yeah.
bots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the things that you and I need to tell folks more and more is that what Tesla's is doing is not just on robots, humanoid bots, and not just on cars. It's anything with a video camera. It's this ability to do real world AI. And Comma AI could do that because they've got a device, they're learning, they've got the data, they've got the end-to-end network. They could do something similar to this. And that's why they're also playing with bots as well. Very good point. So this is Chansu saying, love this. Comma AI should partner with auto dealers or something and get their devices installed at pickup, right? Because if you're partner, George goes, are you proposing to this to dealerships? George says, why do we need to do this? That some are already doing it. That's a big news. No partnership required. Any dealer today, anywhere, can buy 10 devices, 10% discount, and sell them installed at a 2x markup. So, what a brilliant business model, right? And even today, with existing cars, anybody can be offered. And it's not just full self driving, right? This could be like autopilot in the highways, but it can also be just advanced safety, right? Have a camera there, give you good
Yep.
guidance on that.
Yeah. Yeah. You get great automatic lane keeping, great automatic emergency braking, and then adaptive cruise control, kind of all rolled into one. And I think it will do lane changes as well. Now you have to, use your blinker to signal when you want to do that. Um, and so those are all, functions that are very valuable to have that don't necessarily work very well with the stock systems that come from most auto companies.
Okay. Well, thank you for the update. We'll continue to follow the comma story. This was fantastic statements by George. Very, very cool. So thank you for doing that. Follow Hans at Hans C. Nelson on his YouTube channel. Talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.